A lot going on. The news today that maybe we thought might be coming, but we weren't sure. And then we got the news that there's been changes. There's lots of changes underway in Florida football. We know about the coaching staff and now the players. The first big announcement coming today that DJ Lagway has hit the transfer portal. Not sure how you feel about that. It is probably was inevitable to some degree. By the same token, when it happened, it caught us by surprise. How do you feel about that? Lagway wasn't getting the job done. He's been a loyal compatriot, holding the team together. He's had some great moments like last year, and now not so much this year, throwing lots of interceptions. We'll get your comments tonight on how do you feel about DJ Lagway? Well, I think it's probably a mixed bag, and for the most part, most people think maybe it was a good thing. We'll find out. This guy probably does. Coming up next, we've got the man himself, the host of the Shane Matthews Show, Pot Up with Matthews. He's been talking about him in a very objective way. I wouldn't call him a critic. I would only say that he called the shot, that there's nothing for sure in the world. And maybe this is a case where he was asked to earn the job. Maybe that might have been it. Let's see what Shane Matthews has to say next on the Buddy Martin Show. Meldon Law Monday. Stay tuned. Tell your friends and neighbors we're on the air.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ? I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening and welcome. Coming up tonight, terrific show. Shane Matthews, can't wait to hear what he says about the change. DJ Lagway going to the transfer portal, right? It's not shocking, but it is a little surprising. We'll get his take on it. Lots of people taking shots. Lots of people talking about things they have no idea about. But we can surmise a lot. I think Shane is good at surmising. We'll get his thoughts on that. Coming up after him, exclusive interview with Urban Meyer tonight. Urban was with us earlier today. He had some very interesting things to say about the Gator football program, the coaches, and his life and situation. And Franz Beard's back. RIP to his mom, passed away services today. And he's got some comments about Lagway, and we'll talk about a little hoop. But first, let's go out to the hotline and talk to the man who makes this show and also the podcast in the morning worth listening to. Shane Matthews. Hi, Shane.
What's happening, buddy?
A lot. Okay, so when I texted you this morning, had you already heard about Lagway?
I think I got late news. I was in some serious meetings today. I didn't have my phone with me. And I just heard from someone else right before you text me, and I didn't know what they were talking about when they initially texted me. Look, I wish DJ a lot of luck. I hope it goes somewhere and he plays really, really well. But college football is very similar to it is the National Football League now. It's a results-driven business. And, you got to compete. You got to produce. You got to execute. And if you don't do that, especially with a new coaching staff, buddy, I knew when we were getting a new coach that things were going to change, especially at that position, because the tape don't lie. And so hopefully DJ, I wish him a lot of luck. I mean, he's got a chance to be pretty good if he gets a lot of things fixed. And understands what to do against certain coverages and things of that nature. And maybe he can go somewhere and be a really good quarterback.
Wish him all the best. And also, we were all kind of hoping this would have a happy ending for everybody. Maybe it still might. I don't know. The inside baseball comments were getting like it's probably best for both parties. I don't want to discount what the guy did. He brought hope and joy to a lot of people here, especially at the end of last season. And, they talked to Edgar Thompson today, talked to Jon Sumrall. He said, I'm really not going to comment on it. Nothing but respect for DJ, whatever he chooses to do. I'm going to love all those guys that are there or here, whatever they choose to do. I'm not really going to get into that too much. Sumrall. A lot of people speculating when they have no idea what was said, but apparently it was a meeting and it didn't go well. And I guess that means DJ wanted some, and his dad and agent wanted some guarantees or promises. And I'm just guessing that Sumrall's not the kind of guy who gives that. And so it didn't go well. That was the first indicator. So things began to fall apart. And now there's a lot of NIL money out there that can be spread around. And there's an interesting quarterback, Shane. I want to get into that with you. You talked about one in particular from Georgia Tech. And it's interesting that Florida's now hired already, I think, 3 assistants from Georgia Tech, including the quarterback coach today. And, of course, the offensive coordinator, Buster. That name just doesn't go with his last name, Buster. But anyway, so I don't know. That opens the door for a lot of people. It's going to be obviously it's going to be an open competition. Shane, what do you think?
Well, I mean, every position is a competition. I think any coach that just guarantees people playing time or a position, they ain't a very good football coach. That's just not right. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. A lot of people think it'd be Aaron Philo from Georgia Tech,
right?
Although he's got a lot of state of Georgia ties. I don't know if they can pry him away from there. Mensa from Duke is a possibility from what I've heard. He may go pro though. Who knows? There's a lot of good quarterbacks out there. I think too many fans, and I say this about every position, too many people get too enamored with their roster. Look, I love Katie Daniels. Katie Daniels is a damn good tailback.
He's gone.
Yeah, and I wish him luck too. But there's tons of good running backs out there. There are tons of great wide receivers. There's tons of quarterbacks. I think people get so enamored with their roster that they think those are the only players worth a damn in America, and that's not the case.
Well, I think it's their team. They want to have ownership in it, and they want to be able to root for people. And they have players they think would work well here in the system. I don't know. But no, it's change is good, but it's painful. You hate to see some of these kids go. I mean, my gosh.
Yeah, but again, buddy, I do agree with that. But again, you're a 4-8 football team, right? Something needs to change.
Well, I hope it's not Jaden Ball.
I don't think it will be. I think they'll figure that out.
Yeah. And the other thing about it is a business. I don't know what DJ was making, but a lot of money. Let's just throw a number out there, $2 million. I don't know what it is.
I think
it could
more
be
what
$3 million. Maybe Sumrall says, I'm not going to give you all that money. I mean, I can understand that until you prove yourself. So
that's maybe it should be.
Yeah, that part I agree with. That part I do agree with. So anyway, it's going to be really interesting next few months. Interesting football games coming up this weekend. Sumrall and his Tulane Green Wave. I'm going to become a Green Wave fan. Roll on, or they say roll Green Wave. He's got his hands full with a laneless Ole Miss team. Boy, the teams have changed so much, you don't even know. I think they're a huge underdog. But there are some people who think maybe those group of 5 teams like Tulane and James Madison don't belong in there. Urban Meyer's not one of them. He says, I was one of those guys. You'll hear him later on. He's going to be on the show tonight. Interesting interview. Be sure to stay tuned for that. So before I switch subjects and go to what's happening in your world of pro football, which is a tumultuous weekend, anybody jump at you in the playoff, out at you in the playoffs? Any team, any thoughts about the playoffs? They seem so remotely distant to me still.
I think they're 3 weeks away. It's good football.
Well, not really. The games start this weekend, but.
Oh, you're talking about, I thought you said pro football.
No, I'm saying before we go to pro football.
Oh, I'm excited for them. I'll watch the game Friday night. I'll watch all 3 games on Saturday. I don't care who's playing. I'll enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know you watch the NFL. Boy, 2 big names hit the deck this weekend. And was he the greatest quarterback? Maybe you can make a case for his accomplishments. Michael Parsons, of course, was a big thing for Green Bay. So, and then the Chiefs are not in the playoffs. Amazing, huh?
It is. But they'll be back.
Not this year.
Nope, but they'll be back.
Yeah. I think I read somewhere this is the first time in a long time that the big guys have not been in the playoffs, including including all the way back to Peyton, and they've lost him. So anyway, they won't hear this. Following the Chiefs' elimination, NFL playoffs will not include Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, or Patrick Mahomes for the first time since 1998, Shane.
Well, Mahomes has been to the AFC Championship game every year he's been the starter.
Right.
Which I think is a record, but not this year. And I don't know if he'd be ready for next year.
Well, but before we go back and talk about the college game, Trevor Lawrence, what a remarkable game he had. You realize what he did has never been done?
I didn't realize that until this morning. I heard this morning.
Yeah. 300 plus pass yards, 5+ passing touchdowns, 50+ rush yards, and 1 yard rush to TD in the NFL game. Never done until now. So that's something like Coach Spurrier said, you like to do something nobody else has done. Well, there's one for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good day.
Are you a Trevor Lawrence guy?
I'll be honest with you. I haven't watched the Jags a lot. But I do like Liam Cohen. I think he's done a really good job. And, Trevor's always been a talented guy. Obviously, he's playing very, very well.
Liam Cohen likes him to Jon Sumrall, too. Big fan. Mm-hmm. Big fan he is, he said. Yeah, so, all right. Couple old notes here I want to get to. My man Jake Slaughter, congratulations, Jake. Another All-America, another second team. He's led the world in the second team Associated Press. He's had a bunch of them. It's so hard to quantify an offensive lineman and how do you vote for him. A lot of times it has to do with your team's record. That certainly did not help. Jake ranked 8th in the country for his run block, pass block, and offensive grades, 5th in the country for his zone block grade, and it was among the leading centers all nation. A great job by Jake. Probably won't go in the first round, but boy, what a great career he's had, and what a great young man he is. My honor to be able to give him the Wayne McCall Award at the Quarterback Club last week. All right, so we've talked about Lagway a lot, you and I, for a long time. And you told me that his mechanics cannot be fixed that quickly. How much did that contribute to all of his interceptions? And would he have been able to have him fixed in time to play here?
Well, he had bad mechanics in year one, buddy. Just people didn't really notice it because they got enamored with him throwing the ball deep. Teams adjusted to how he played. And look, I don't know. Like I said, I hope DJ finds a great place. He's a good young man. But it's a result-driven business. And I think the coaching staff, the new general manager, they basically watched tape and felt like they're walking into a program that needs to win immediately. And they made a decision. And it's a business. I mean, it can hurt some people's feelings, or you just deal with it. I mean, hell, I was cut 5 or 6 times in the National Football League. Part of the game.
It does hurt, that's for sure. All right, quarterbacks.
But
Go ahead.
I mean, it hurts people's. I mean, he has people that wish he was here, but again, it would be a different story if it was Danny Werfel transferring after a year or two of success, right?
Right.
That's not the case here.
I hear what you're saying, and there was no reason to say the way things are trending that he would be a good, really great quarterback, which I thought he would, and when predicted he would. I was wrong about that, but
well, he might buddy somewhere else, and I hope that's the case. But
the one thing I want
to,
I'm hearing you, and you're right. The one thing I want to say, and I want to make sure I say this right, there was some scary times when this whole program was about to go down the tubes. And Billy Napier was struggling to hold it together. And the guy who committed to come here helped recruit players and build that team, a group of people together. I'm not sure how good they would have been had anybody not gotten hurt, especially him. But he did his part as a teammate. And he came in, he stayed loyal. Of course, he got paid well, too. So I will say this, I'll always be grateful for him. He tried the best. He played hard. He did it. He never jaked it. He, in my opinion, gave all he had, and it wasn't good enough. And it looked like it might not be good enough, so I understand it. Let's talk about quarterbacks, okay? Coming up, Urban Meyer in just a minute. Don't want to miss that interview. Boy, what a mess Diego Pavia got himself into. I mean, truth be known, these kind of things are said a lot. But he went off on Indiana, a bad time and a bad look. And the one thing that Vanderbilt had to be proud of was got besmirched because he made some terrible comments that got picked up about Indiana. He wrote, F all the voters, he said, wrote upside down. But family for life. Pavia finished second. A lot of people thought he should have won first. I did vote for him. I will say that. I'm like Paul Feinbaum. I'm not so sure if I wouldn't take that vote back now. That was a very classless thing this young man did, and he hurt himself and hurt his school by doing it. Do you agree with that?
I'll be honest with you. I just heard bits and pieces of it. I never saw it. I haven't really followed much media in the last day or two, buddy. I've been busy. So I don't know the whole what he said or any of that stuff.
We'll look it up, and tomorrow morning we'll talk about it because it was really nasty, really bad, a terrible look. He's kind of blackballed himself now. He was a good story and a guy that people love to talk about. What a competitor he was, but he made a series of Instagram stories with a photo of a few of his Commodore teammates and wrote F all the voters. That's not a good look at all. So, and by the way, by the same token, Fernando Mendoza was a classy kid. His talk I want to ask Coach Spurrier, you ought to ask him tomorrow when you talk to him about what he thought about the guy. He seemed to impress everybody. Mendoza, he was Cuban American. I didn't know that, from Miami. And he did beautifully. He played well and did beautifully in his speech, I thought. So kudos to him. One guy looked great. One guy looked like a dog. So he goes. Did you see the speech and the acceptance?
I saw the couple of clips of it on Sunday morning. But yeah, he's, like I said, he looks like the guy that would come knock on your door and try to sell you some encyclopedias.
I'd buy him.
His story is great, being from South Florida, going to high school there, and going to Cal and transferring.
Yeah.
Again, that's why people don't need to worry about who our quarterback's going to be. They'll find one.
Oh, you talked me into the guy from Tech. You were
If he wants to come, I think he's very good. But Tech may give him more money than than we can give him. I don't know.
Well, I got his quarterback coach. I hired the quarterback coach from Tech. I hired the offensive coordinator. I hired 3. I think maybe about 4 people. The people that call them the Florida Yellow Jackets. There's so many Tech guys.
But, that's what happens. I mean, think about when Urban got hired. How many damn Utah Ute coaches came?
Yeah. And how many Duke guys got hired?
Yeah. No big deal.
But remember now, it wasn't the head man that coached Tech. It was the offensive coordinator. So
right, he's going to bring guys that know his system and how he operates.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. I understand completely. And that's the way it is, right? I got a column on the guy right now. If you don't mind me plugging, say go to GatorBaitMedia.com and check out the column. Franz Beard's got one as well. Franz will be along later about a little bit the background of him. Has quite a record as a high school player at Georgia. Saw all kind of records, undefeated in high school, small school.
You talking about Buster?
No, the quarterback. What's his name? The kid. Fido.
Aaron Follow?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he can throw it now.
Yeah. Fido is Fido has a lot of accolades, so let's see if we can do it. He was a 3-star recruit. So
he's learning about him in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, and now we'll see what the deal is, how it all shakes out. So, all right. So Shane, let me just say a word about my sponsor. I'm going to roll into the Urban Meyer interview. I'll let you go early and watch your football game. I want to be sure and tell folks about our friends. And don't forget, I want to say one other thing. There's a book signing you need to know about, especially in Panama City Thursday night. Franz Beard will be here. He'll be locally out in Panama City Beach signing books to the Panhandle Gator Club. And we'll have Carlton Reese here as well. And you can go online at Spurriers.com. You can buy the book there, or you can get it signed if you come to one of these events. We'll have a couple of things next week in Ocala, one at Cogent Bank, and maybe one up in Gainesville. We'll see if Freddie Weeby can put it together at Campus USA. So with that, let me say thanks to our sponsors. Great job by the folks at Meldon Law. You know all about them. They do wonderful things. They do terrific work. They're the only official law firm of the Florida Gators, and they make sure they take care of you if you need any good law work. They got 4 locations there in North Central Florida to serve you: Ocala, Gainesville, Lake City, and Wilson. Now a new one down in South Florida, right near Fort Lauderdale. So check them out. Meldon Law. They want background. Well, Shane had a good visit today with Urban. We talked about his recent success he's had, Halls of Fame, and he did make it into the Ring of Honor. So I told him, I said, that's probably more exclusive in a way than Hall of Fame. And only 6-7 guys, right, in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's very happy about that. All right, Shane, who you got on the show tomorrow morning besides this good-looking guy here?
Zach Alberverdi. He'll give us all the rundown on who's going in the portal, who's staying, all that good stuff.
Yeah, he's got a lot of he's also got some news on all the hires, quite a few of them. All right, thank you, Shane. See you tomorrow morning.
Have a good night. See you, buddy.
All right, we talked with Urban earlier, and here's what he is. It's the first time he's been on the program since he got all these accolades. He's going to need to build a bigger trophy case because he's got the hardware coming in. Coach, I know it was an honor, and although you don't like to think about it, you're pretty much a slam dunk. You've been in the halls of fame around the country. Lots of places have you. Nobody prouder than the University of Florida for you being named College Football Hall of Fame and the Ring of Honor, a very coveted position. I think there are only 7, right, in the Ring of Honor?
Yeah, I think, and it was a very humble experience when Scott Strickland, actually, this kind of guy he is, he drove to our house and came to see us, and Shelly got emotional, and it was really cool. And all fall we started at Bowling Green week 1, then we went to Salt Lake City, for a game, and they honored us there. And then we were at Ohio State, Penn State, and then obviously Florida, Tennessee. Then last week, the Hall of Fame. And then finally, just a couple of days ago, Shelley said, "Hey, I'm done celebrating you. It's time to move on." And we have officially moved on. But it's been very, it was really cool, buddy. There's a bunch of former coaches and players all got, we had Chuck Heater, you had Greg Madison, Steve Adazio, Dan Mullen, you had Dallas Baker, Brandon Spikes, and I'm missing a few, but we had Jeremy Foley was there. It was a great celebration of the Hall of Fame.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm sure it was humbling, and it would give you great gratitude. And by the way, on behalf of University of Florida, congratulations and thank you for all you've done. And you brought a lot of excitement last week in endorsement of the new coach. Jon Sumrall is a guy kind of like Urban. He likes to play it tough, and I think you said he asked you 3 questions, as I recall, right?
Yeah, Scott was Scott was great enough to get me involved in the process to a degree, just as an advisor, and I've become fairly close with Scott. A lot of respect for him. The basketball program is back to where it was. I think this guy's going to bring Coach Sumrall is going to bring football back, and I spoke to several coaches, and Jon Sumrall, when we spoke, all he talked about is his strength coach. All he talked about is off-season program. He talked about toughness in the program, Tuesday practices, training camp. Not one time did NIL, agents, money, and it was about as refreshing conversation I've ever had. The guy's a tough guy. He played linebacker at Kentucky. His teams play tough. They're still playing at Tulane.
Yeah.
I don't know him at all, other than I met him face to face at the press conference. We had a couple conversations on the phone, and I'm usually a pretty good judge of what the coach's makeup is. And the one word that comes to mind, he's a tough dude.
I text you, said, send me one word about it with the new coach, and you wrote back tough, which is good. I also believe in first impressions, Urban. I had one with you. You and I had a little history. Not that I was that important to your life, but on your first press conference, the time I locked eyes with you and asked you a question. And from that moment on, it took us 2 years later to figure out there was a connection there, because I liked the way you coached, like who you were, like what you brought, and I thought you would be successful. Of course, that's like a blind hog finding an acorn, thinking you to be successful. So first impressions, the guy hit it out of the park, Urban.
Yeah, I want to add, buddy, the thing that was a first impression to you is, quite honestly, there's a lot of clowns in your business. And unfortunately, I saw some of those clowns. And when the whole thing is to try to get you with players, and, I don't understand that. To this day, I still don't. I don't do that when I'm on TV. I won't do that. And you were very sincere. What I'm sure some people will take a shot at this anyways, but I don't care anymore, is that, you really cared about people, you cared about players, cared about the sport. And this great sport has given a lot of people jobs, and these players that put their bodies in harm's way and coaches that work their tails off have really given a lot of people careers like yourself. And I really admire people that appreciate that. And you're one. There's many of them, and you're one of the guys because I saw it firsthand, and that's given you the career you had and the respect you have.
I don't want to digress too much, but this is important because I remember whenever you decided to write a book, and I was fortunate to be asked to help you with it. And we were 1 year into the book, and I hadn't yet had an interview with you. And you said to me before the bowl, I guess we should probably do this interview, right? Coach, we're going to have the book in a couple of months. Yeah, I think so. So I met you at your home in Melrose that memorable morning when the sun was coming up over the cypress trees. And I was hoping you reach down and grab some of your soul. And I was talking, and you turned around and said, my gosh, look at that sunrise. My son and I used to go out in the boat and watch that. And, man, everything just opened up and cascaded. A wonderful interview. I'll never forget that day. It was great. But while we go down memory lane, let's take it back to reality right now. And this has been one of the most blood-curdling seasons, if that's right, with something like 15 or 16 coaches fired, which is incredible. But the most recent one in Michigan really was shocking. I know you know Sharon Moore. Give me your take on that.
Yeah, I really don't. I met him once or twice, and obviously I know him from covering him on Big Noon and the rivalry, and there's no one that is more intense and deep into that rivalry than me. I grew up with it. I grew up in the 10-year war. Bo Schembechler became a mentor. Obviously, Woody Hayes and Earl Bruce were. But when I started reading this, that this transcends the game. This is something that I made a comment of, and I still last night I did again, praying for. You got football is a game, and this is some people. There's some hurting going on right now, and so I just prayed for peace and clarity, and he's got a family. So yeah, I keep hearing people talk about the football aspect of it. I don't, that this is so much more serious than that.
It's something that people don't realize. I've been close to a couple of staffs and didn't realize till I was in my 30s how devastating it was, not to just one family, but to a whole bunch of families when a coach gets fired.
Yeah, Kerry Combs, one of my coaches at Ohio State, and a guy that I love dearly, just was hired there a week ago. And wow. I'm going to call him today. We had shared a couple of text messages, and like you said, the impact on this stretches quite a bit.
Absolutely. Let's focus on Gainesville. And the Gators were able to settle down on their choice just in the nick of the time, because man, it started just blowing up after that. And what happened is a guy was introduced in Gainesville. You were asked about him. You responded favorably. You actually chatted with him. And we talked about Coach Sumrall. I asked you about three things. You heartily endorse Sumrall. At least that's how I took it. Why?
Well, Scott asked me to get involved just as a consultant, because I do know the profession. And Scott and I talked many times, and he would ask me my thoughts. And obviously Lane Kiffin was very involved. And then we started going down the road, and I had a conversation with, I think with Coach Sumrall, and I was blown away. I never met the guy. Obviously, his reputation was that of a tough guy. He's played linebacker at Kentucky. His program is very tough. They overachieve. They're in the playoffs right now. And our conversation, and you would appreciate this, was about his strength coach, who's a Green Beret. It was about his off-season program, which they do mat drills like we did, just for discipline and toughness. We talked about practice. We talked about training camp. And Tuesday, ironically, I remember talking about Tuesday practice with him, that was what made Florida Gator football what Florida Gator football was. And that's all about toughness. And, you look at Spikes, Pouncey's, and Tebow, and that whole crew, that was our – people would to this day say, what was your trademark? Inside drill on Tuesday. That's why the Gators won so many games back then. So I was really impressed. Tough teams in your mind, you have to believe tough teams always win, because I believe they do. And I think this coach believes that as well. Really, really impressed.
Bloody Tuesday. I mean, Coach, the game has changed drastically, and yet it hasn't. Look no further than Indiana. My goodness, I think you call it the greatest coaching job in the history of college football. What we've seen there with the coach and the quarterback, what a story. And they seem to have the values right. They were able to protect it. Talk about how the game has changed, and yet it hasn't.
Yeah, I actually watched Coach Sumrall in the interview that we did with Coach Spurrier and myself, and he made that comment that how you get to the game is a lot different, but once the game started, it's the same. How you get to the game is, it's uncharted. It's something that, I would struggle with it, but once that foot hits the ball, it's still controlling the line of scrimmage, tackling, having great run fits on defense, and disengaging blocks on offense. It's blocking, taking care of the ball, and executing on the perimeter. And that's, I have a tendency to sometimes overreact. That's the greatest coaching job in my lifetime I've seen, because I've coached against Indiana. And when you watch, who was I with yesterday? I was with a former coach, and he agreed with me that when you watch his teams play, the fewest big plays given up in the Big Ten. That means they're excellent run fits on defense. Fewest turnovers on offense means they take care of the football. Those are all taught intentional skills that coaches teach players because that's very unnatural. It's all coaching, and I mean it's talent too, but to get them to those positions. So I got a lot of respect for Signetti and his staff.
Brendan, you can jump in if you want to, but one of the things about this whole thing is the attitude. Coach Spurrier has said you can win now because you got players right now, no reason to wait. Number two, you take Signetti. He was asked about winning the Big Ten. He says, we came a year too late. He thought he should have won it last year. You look at situations like I read the other day that at NC State, they thought they were going to win the championship before they won it back in the day. And the fact is they used to cut down the nets, practice it, cutting down the nets after once a week. And that mental outlook, very positive. I think Jon Sumrall has a lot of that. He's ready to go now. He wants to coach. He'd like to go play the game today. I love his aggressiveness, his positive outlook, and he makes you believe he can do it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because the whole world to get to the game is about securing your roster and then going to cherry pick a few. That's what Ohio State has done so well is they still believe in the high school development, yet they go get a Caleb Downs, they get a Julian Sain, they get someone that they need. I'm not a big fan of the 30, 40, 50, 60 player transfer, where you just change roster every year. I don't know if that's sustainable. There's been some good stories about it, but I think long range success is doing at Florida. You go recruit the best players in the country on high school, and then you take that 5, 6, 7 guys that you cherry pick. I'm hoping that's what I haven't talked to him about, Coach Sumrall about that, but at Florida, in my mind, that's what they should do.
Coach, what we've heard a lot about Sumrall is that he's a coach's coach. He has a lot of great relationships with other coaches. I know you don't know him that well, but I just was curious if he's hired Buster Faulkner, offensive coordinator, and Brad White, defensive coordinator. Just announced Phil Trautwein. Is also
Phil Trautwein might be a guy everyone knows.
Yeah. So I was just wondering what your take on those hires are, specifically OCDC for those picks for him.
Yeah, I have a relationship with Brent Key at Georgia Tech, so I know of the Buster coach that they hired, and I know I actually watched a little film on because I was curious, and it's a spread mentality with an athletic quarterback. Defense, I have no idea. But obviously, Phil Trautwein is a former player we recruit. No, we did. We inherited him. Ron Zook recruited Phil.
But he played for you, didn't he? Yeah.
He started. He was one of the. We always joke around. I think it was him, Percy Harvin, and the kicker were the only people that started in both national championships in 06 and 08. So yeah, great guy, and he worked under, in my mind, the best line coach that I've been around. That's Steve Adazio, and he played and coached for Coach Adazio, and then obviously spent several years at Penn State.
6, as a matter of fact, and highly regarded. So it looks like he got his staff together quickly. Now we can talk about the 12-team playoff. The jury's still out on it. Some people think the group of 5 teams in there, while they make a nice story at James Madison and Tulane, they shouldn't be in there. Your take on that?
Yeah, I'm a big fan because I coached at Bowling Green and coached at Utah. Bowling Green, we would have never survived. That Utah team would have made some waves in the playoff. I don't know if we would have won it, but we would have certainly competed and won some games. I think that the smaller schools need to schedule at least 3 big time, or you can't go in. You can't.
Yeah.
That's to say that James Madison is better than or more deserving than Notre Dame. A lot of people would probably say no. I don't know that because I've not studied James Madison. So I'm a big fan of giving people opportunity, but I would say I'd put mandates and guardrails. One would be you have to schedule 3 top 50 teams every year just so you can prove that you can do it. And then also you have to finish in the top 15 in the country or something, or top 20 to make the playoffs. So I would not have any gimmies. I would there'd have to be mandated. It's only fair to the players. There's a group in South Bend right now that's not in.
Yeah.
Do they deserve it? I don't, some people, I kind of pushed back on that on Big Noon when they said, well, Notre Dame's playing better than they think Notre Dame was better than Miami. And I was like, stop that conversation. They played. Well, they played 3 months ago. It doesn't matter. I thought Ohio State was better than Indiana. That's why you play the game. I mean, those conversations, and I don't want to take this whole conversation, but the committee's got to go away. And it's not that they're bad people. It's just myself, Leinart, Mark Ingram, and Brady Quinn know the game and know the game really well, watch it every week, and we argue all the time. So they're put in a situation you can't win. So there's only one answer, that's playing. And there's a couple models out there right now. The one that I love is 4-4-2-2-1-1. And that's where each conference handles their own. They decide who goes to the playoff, not the commit, not people.
I like that.
Yeah, no, people do. The people who decide to go in are called players.
Yeah.
And so 3 would play 6, 4 would play 5, and obviously 1 plays 2, and 4 teams go.
Committee really did a bad job this year. I'm sorry. Maybe the system might be broken, but didn't work.
Well, Coach, the second year in a row we've been dealing with players. Florida State last year saying not going to play in the bowl game, or not going to compete post season or in the extra game, whatever we want to call it anymore. What is your take in the sense of how do you deal if you're Notre Dame's head coach and it was reported the players didn't want to play? They said raise your hand if you want to play, or however they deduced it. I mean, that seems so foreign to me that a lot of people would just be so happy. We heard somebody say the other day, but what a great opportunity that you don't understand to end the season on a win means a lot for a player to go into the postseason. Is there just value in just playing the game?
Well, it's all relative. So, for example, Bowling Green, we never got to play. The MAC back then only had 1 bowl game. Our kids would have walked to a bowl game. When we finished 9-3 at Bowling Green, there was no place for us to go. They wanted to keep practicing in case someone would show up because they just didn't want that season to end. Then Utah, we won the first championship in 60 years, and we went to Liberty Bowl, and then with the second year, went to a BCS bowl game for the first time, small school. But then by the time you get to Ohio State and Florida, I remember we lost to Alabama, and we went to Sugar Bowl. And we couldn't sell the tickets. People weren't that interested. The players, we played our tails off. We won. We beat Cincinnati. But Ohio State, I mean, even I started to feel it then, where if you're not playing for the national title, why? Denzel Ward was the first guy, and I love Denzel. And he came to me and said, I'm probably not going to play in this bowl game. And that was the first time I witnessed that. And I kind of understood. It broke my heart. So I think we all just have to adapt and accept the reality is that bowl games are going to be for teams that, that otherwise usually don't get to go. The Notre Dames and Ohio States and Floridas of the world, that's not players. I imagine that we're witnessing it. If they're not in the playoff, they're going to move on with their careers. And, that's just something we got to get used to.
Urban, final minute, we would be remiss in not mentioning Utah is going to change coaches. Kyle Whittingham, who took over the program when you left there, now is stepping down. What a job he has done. I know you think he's one of the best coaches in America. Talk just a second about Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle, I love Kyle Whittingham. We're extremely close. I'm glad he's stepping down because I told him a couple of times there's a really nice life out there I didn't know about. You have something you're in charge of finally, and it's called time. And one of the best I've ever been around, maybe the best. The two of us together, he ran the defense, I ran the offense and special teams. And I mean, the way we worked together for two people that didn't know each other. He actually interviewed for the job and I got it. So it was really uncomfortable, for a moment, but then he's such a pro. He's such a good football coach, great football coach, that the two of us for 2 years. And then when I put that whistle around his neck and said, you're the next head coach at Utah, is one of the great moments because look at Utah. Utah went from a a good team in the Mountain West Conference to one of the best teams in the country. And I can't wait to see where they put the statue of Kyle Whittingham.
Should be great. Coach, 15 seconds. You had all these people coming to you, begging you to take jobs. I mean, my goodness, you've never seen a guy in such a great leverage position. Was there one 5-second window where you thought, well, and Shelley slapped you and said, no, you're not?
Yeah, there was about a 4-second window, and then Shelley threw a hot cup of coffee on me, and that was it.
Dad, if you mind if I ask Coach real quick, just what's your take about Lane Kiffin at LSU?
Look here, Shelley.
Not true.
Not true.
No, Shelley, how you doing, Shelley? Congratulations to you for all these halls of fame and stuff too.
Thank you. It's a great honor. I'm really proud of him, and he deserved it. But like
all right, so great to talk to Urban. Appreciate that very much. We'll go see if we can go get Franz. We're running a little bit late here. The interview went over. Let's see if our guy's here. And there he is, the man himself. What's say there, big guy?
Been a rough week.
Yes, you've had a rough. I'm sorry. So sorry. I'm sorry we're running over time too. I'm gonna give you the floor. And there's I want to mention that also our sponsor, our folks at Titan MRI and Imaging, 3 locations serving 2 in Gainesville, Park Avenue, and now Millennium Center, 1 in Lake City, serving all Columbia County. There's a QR code. If you need an MRI or CAT scan, that's the place to go. Check them out. There it is. Friends, we only got a couple of minutes. I'm sorry we went long with Urban. Show how much you got to hear of that. Let's talk for a second about your column tonight. You got posted on DJ Lagway.
Well, I'm really not surprised. Chris Hummer wrote that he was all ears about the potential of staying here, but I got to question how much DJ was all ears and how much Jon Sumrall. Some guys, sometimes you can look at a guy and you can tell he's not going to fit in what I'm going to do. I mean, a lot of coaches, how much of the decision-making about quarterbacks is done based on film and not actually seeing a guy in person. And most coaches, I think Urban, he's not on here now, but I think he would probably agree that probably about 90% of the decision making when it comes to picking a quarterback to play for you has to do with what you see on film. And instantly whether this guy can fit in with what I want to do and what I don't want to do. I don't know that DJ would have been a good fit under Jon Sumrall. Then again, I can't say that he wouldn't be as well. But I think, having really thought about it, buddy, since the afternoon, since I got the news that he was transferring, I thought it was probably a good move for both parties. Sometimes you just need a fresh start. Sometimes you just need a second chance to get there and get fresh, to get into a fresh place with new people and absorb all the new ideas, etc. And I'm not so certain that that's not the case with DJ. My guess, if I had to make a guess right now, I'm going to throw 2 schools out there that I think probably have a really good chance to get him. One of them being Texas Tech. And I think that Texas Tech probably they've got an awful lot of money out there, and being that DJ's girlfriend plays on the Florida softball team, and Tech is a softball powerhouse that's been putting a lot of money into the softball program, wouldn't be surprised to see both of them, and they're both from Texas, wouldn't be surprised to see both of them wind up at Texas. I'll give you another place that wouldn't shock me, and that is Florida State. I know a lot of people might be saying, holy cow, why Florida State? Well, they won the 2018 national championship. They've been national runner-up two other times since then. And they've got a need for a quarterback. So it could be that's an answer as well. I don't think they've got the money to afford him, but I'm just saying that based on the dynamics, that could be a place. Clemson needs a quarterback. Miami needs a quarterback. A lot of places need a quarterback. I hope he goes to a place that can develop him. I keep getting texts saying he's going to James Madison to play for Billy Napier, which is entirely possible. They're in the playoff. They're in the Sun Belt. And I got to tell you what, I think it's a whole lot easier to throw against Sun Belt defenses than I do against SEC defenses. So maybe that's a good resurfacing place for him. Somebody's familiar with an offense that he won't have to learn, etc. But I think if he's going to develop, I think he's got to go someplace else under a new system with somebody who is a proven quarterback developer. That's what I think.
Okay. In the remaining minutes that we have, let's talk about your book signings. You're coming to Northwest Florida on Thursday to sign books for the Panhandle Gator Club and Rob Dotson and the gang. And we'll also have several team members here, Carlton Reese as well. And I think you've got a couple other things scheduled next week. One of them at Cogent Bank in Ocala, and maybe one in Gainesville, as I recall, with Freddie Weeby's place at Campus USA. The book is out. You can get it. It's you don't get a chance to see Franz, though, and you don't get a chance to get it signed personally by Franz, but once in a Panhandle. And I will say this book is really good. How do I know? Well, I helped work on it. Didn't have much to do with it. Franz did most of it. But there it is right there. Book you're very proud of, I know. It's out. It's available. Special pricing for the holidays. If you want the book, move now. Don't waste any time. So I know the folks at the Tip-Off Club in Ocala this morning with Carlton bought some, and they've got more coming. So check it out. If you have any questions, contact me or Franz, and we'll be able to tell you exactly how to get it. Franz, talk about the basketball team and George Washington.
There, buddy. They've lost to the number 1, the number 3, and the number 5 team in the country by a combined 11 points. Those are 3 games that they lost, but they should have won all 3 of them. A made shot here, a missed shot there by the other team, things like that. They could have won those ball games. Probably, in retrospect, should have won those ball games. But as I as I watched them Saturday down in Sunrise, and I saw a good old number 1. Oh my goodness, Xavier Lee, I all of a sudden started making the shots.
Yeah, and he looked good.
We've seen him turn into tremendous ball handler through traffic. He can weave in and out of traffic. He's been a solid passer, rarely makes a turnover, plays solid defense. And now, he went 1 for 7 against UConn. 3 of those shots went in and came back out. Could have been, one of them makes it. They probably win the ball game. But the shots defied gravity. He had 4 for 8 Saturday. 2 of those shots did everything but go down. Could have been 6 for 8. Could have had 30-point game. This is a guy that's coming on. Boogie Fland, I think, this next month, these next 2 weeks before they get into the SEC are going to be really critical for him. I think he's got to adjust to the fact he is an outstanding driver, and he needs to make shots. When he drives the basket, gets layups, makes mid-range shots, gets to the foul line, the 3-point game opens up for him. And he's been trying to shoot threes first. And when he misses that first one, he tends to go into a funk shooting. I've seen that happen with a lot of guys that they need to make the first shot. I know Sam Jones, who played basketball at North Carolina Central, and I got to know him after he retired from the Celtics. I asked him once what was his main goal when he comes out and starts a ball game. He said the first thing he did was the first time he touched the ball was he tried to get fouled shooting the ball. And I said, that seemed a little strange. I said, why do you want to get fouled?
See the ball going home.
He said, get in there. He says, I could shoot free throws in my sleep. And he says, I get in there and I make those first couple shots and I get into that rhythm. I thought that was an interesting concept. And I think Boogie is kind of that way. He needs to make a couple free throws and get to that line. And he's very capable of getting to the line. Tommy Hawk, Danny Hurley said.
Love that Tommy Hawk. I love that Tommy Hawk. You know that.
Last Tuesday, Danny Hurley said he's the best player I have seen in a while. He said he is a
player. He said my favorite player.
He said he's a first-team All-American. Said he is a lottery pick. I'll tell you what, you watch him, and if you don't think that kid can play in the NBA, you got rocks in your head. He is outstanding. We're seeing stuff with Kondo and Rubin. They're doing really good. The big thing they got to do is he's got to get guys on the bench comfortable and confident. I liked what I saw about Isaiah Brown Saturday.
Yeah, he showed up finally.
I think he's going to play some more. They're going to have to make a decision about his brother, AJ. AJ is a heck of a shooter. They're trying their best to redshirt him because they're going to lose a lot of guys, obviously, to the next year. And this is a guy that can shoot. But they may have to just go ahead and burn the red shirt. I think they'll make a decision on that in the next couple of weeks, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him dressing out and playing, starting with the SEC portion of the schedule, which begins January 3rd at cold Columbia, Missouri. And I know I'm not looking forward to that road trip. I really am not. But
well, you'll be on the road a lot this year.
Well, I got 9 road games to go. And because that's how many they play an 18-game SEC schedule. They got 9 road games. They got the SEC tournament in Nashville. And then we got the NCAA tournament. So I'm going to be getting a lot of frequent flyer miles. I think this team, buddy, and I'm not being a homer when I say that. I think this team can make the Final Four. I really do.
All right.
We
got 30 seconds to wrap that thought up.
They can beat these teams. They like I said, a shot here, a turnover there, etc., like that. They have yet to play a full game. The first 7 minutes of the second half against George Washington, we saw what happens when they're all playing together. If they play like that for 40 minutes, they're the best team in the country, bar none. Todd's got it going. People who, if you're panicking, don't. They're going to be good. They're the best team in the SEC, period. Right. In the story.
The man who wrote the book. Francis, good job. I'll talk to you later. Looking forward to you. To get the bells and the whistles and the vans out for you Thursday in Panama City. Franz Beard, author of The Golden Season. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. All right, folks, again, wrapping up the night. Thanks again to Urban Meyer Knight for coming aboard, sharing his thoughts, and, of course, Shane Matthews. And the big news today, DJ Lagway is no longer going to be a Gator. He's going to the transfer portal, although I guess he could be reclaimed. But no, if the reports of the money he was making, we heard everything at $3.84 million. There's no way Jon Sumrall is going to pay him that kind of money and not pay his others. So we said maybe it's best for all concerning, move on. Thanks to everybody tonight, folks. Have a good weekend. And, well, good week, actually, not a weekend. I wish it was a weekend. Good night. Thank you.